All right, let's get right into it. If you've ever tried to use an AI assistant across a bunch of different complex projects, you probably know the feeling. One minute, it's this amazing collaborator. The next, it's like a bull in a china shop. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful system for taming that chaos and turning your AI into a partner you can actually count on, especially when things get complicated.
So, this is the core problem, right? You drop your AI into a big workspace. Maybe it has dozens of folders. You give it a task, and it just goes. It might pull context from the wrong project entirely, or worse, modify a file it shouldn't touch, all because it has no sense of the bigger picture. In a multi-project setup, that's not just a little unhelpful, it can be seriously destructive.
So the solution starts with a whole new way of thinking. And this quote just nails it. We have to force a sequence. First, understand the environment. Then, understand your role. And only then, are you allowed to take action. This simple idea is the bedrock for everything else we're about to talk about. It's about building in discipline before we ask for that creative spark.
To make that happen, we need to stop thinking in terms of one-off prompts and start thinking much, much bigger. We're going to treat our entire workspace not as just a messy collection of folders, but as a genuine operating system for our AI to live and work in.
And this is the central concept, a workspace operating system. The real magic is in that root-level control layer. Think of it as the set of instructions right at the very top of your workspace that acts like a mandatory orientation for the AI. It forces it to get the lay of the land before it's allowed to touch a single file in any of your projects. And this slide just lays out the shift perfectly. The old way, it's pure guesswork. You just throw a prompt out there and hope the AI figures it out. The new way is all about discipline. The AI isn't guessing anymore. It's navigating a world that's already been mapped out with a very clear set of rules. This is the real difference between chaos and control.
You know, to really make this idea stick, we even give the AI a new job title. It's no longer just some generic assistant. Its primary default role is now the workspace maintainer. Its first job isn't to get things done, it's to protect the integrity of the whole system. It becomes a gatekeeper, not just a worker.
Okay, so how do we actually build this thing? Well, it's actually surprisingly simple. The entire system is built on just a few powerful, plain text markdown files that act as the map and the rulebook for our AI.
These are the key files, the control layer. Right at the top level, you've got three main documents. Workspace.md, which explains the grand vision. Projectindex.md, which is literally the map to all your projects. And a global agents.md file that sets those strict, universal rules. Then, inside each project, you can have another agents.md file for more specific local rules.
This table really shows you how the work is divided up. Workspace.md gives the AI the worldview, the why behind everything. Projectindex.md is the navigator, basically a GPS that tells it where to go for what task. And agents.md? Well, that's the rulebook. It's the non-negotiable list of what you can and, more importantly, what you cannot do.
Now, this next part is absolutely critical. It's the mandatory entry protocol. The AI is literally forbidden from changing any file until it completes this sequence. It has to read the worldview, check the map to find its target, and then read the local rules for that specific destination. Only after it's done all that is it allowed to start the actual task. This is how we enforce that environment, role, action philosophy.
And I mean, the difference is just night and day. Without this protocol, the AI is a loose cannon. It just jumps in and starts trying to do things, which is how you get errors and damage. With the protocol, its actions are safe, they're properly scoped, and they're context-aware. It has to prove it understands the situation before it can do anything.
Okay, so we've got the AI's actions under control. But what if we could go even deeper? What if we could control how it thinks? This is where we get to the really cool part, installing different brains for different jobs. This quote from the source material just sums it up perfectly. The system we've just talked about, the agent, the workspace, the project files, that whole thing tells the AI where to stand. It gives it a location and a set of rules. But this new persona layer, that tells it which brain to use once it's standing in the right spot.
So now we have two totally distinct roles for our AI. The default is always the system maintainer, that disciplined gatekeeper we talked about. But once it's passed the entry protocol and is ready to work, we can tell it to switch hats. It can adopt a persona, maybe a deep task analyst, or a creative writer, or a skeptical strategist.
whatever the job actually needs.
And that brings us to the whole shebang, the complete 4-layer control model. You've got the agent layer handling how the AI starts, the workspace layer managing the big picture, the project layer routing tasks, and finally, that persona layer managing its actual thinking style. Each layer adds a specific kind of control, creating this incredibly robust and flexible system.
But here's the part that I think makes this system truly powerful. It's not static. We can actually build a mechanism that forces the AI to contribute its learnings back to a central brain. We can create a system that literally gets smarter over time.
The way we do this is by taking one special project, we can call it the LLM Wiki, and basically giving it a promotion. It's no longer just another folder in the list. We officially designate it as the knowledge layer for the entire workspace. It's the central brain where all the most important insights and decisions live.
Then we build a new rule into the system, and it's got a kind of a fancy name, the knowledge precipitation mechanism. But the idea is really simple. The AI is required to summarize any important new learnings and record them in the LLM Wiki when a task is done. Things like insights that apply to multiple projects, new ways of doing things, or records of key decisions. So knowledge doesn't just evaporate anymore, it precipitates back into the central brain.
And the real beauty of this whole structure is just how well it scales. Because all the rules are systemic, they're not tied to any single project, it works just as smoothly whether you have 3 projects or 30 or even more. It's a true operating system and it's built for growth.
So what this all really means is we've moved way beyond just simple prompting. We've actually designed a disciplined environment where an AI can be a truly reliable and scalable partner. And that, of course, raises a new, really exciting question. Now that we have a structure for the AI's work, what's the best way to structure our own collaboration with it? And, well, that feels like the next frontier.